Hello, everybody. That was my Twitter, and Fetch just disappeared. That must mean it's AEL time. Always ready to get going, and why not? Because it is Losers Bracket Round 2 about to kind of be thrown down at the moment. I am Formal, as I mentioned before. Joining me is Fetch. Don't worry, you are back on the screen. It was black for like half a second as we get ready to watch the UoN New Boomers take on UTS Esports.
Yeah, and, I was making my dramatic entrance. Sorry if it scared you a little bit there, Formal, but I'm here now. So hello, everybody. I'm very kind of keen to get into this series. The playoffs have been interesting so far, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, it definitely has been, a lot of surprising matches. I think some upsets already. I'm talking, of course, about that Swinburne versus RMIT game with RMIT going up 4-1 over Swinburne Black. That one was not, a game we necessarily expected. And now I'm curious what other surprises are in store. Perhaps we might even get an upset today, at least in my eyes, because between UoN and UTS, as I kind of hover over their rosters right here, I do feel like with Flicky as well as Sorexel and even Knight to that lesser extent, UTS probably should be the favorites in our series today.
So that's a good kind of way to establish a bit of the history for these teams. But what I think is interesting is you talked about the Swinburne and RMIT game, and that was a bit of an upset, but it did only knock a team down into the lower bracket to then play, kind of adjacent to the match we are going to be broadcasting today. But this is an elimination match. This is you lose and you're out. So if there is an upset here, it is a big, big, big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be, a little bit devastating to go out this close to the Final Four. Of course, that is where these teams will make it if they're able to get that win in, this replay. Wish I could tell you all it was live. I'm going to ruin the illusion right now. These are replays, so this series has happened. I'm going to be curious to see how it plays out, though. Obviously, all we know is sort of how many games were played and, who the winners are, but we don't know how they got there. So in that regards, it's going to be a learning experience, and it's one that we couldn't experience as well without, help of some of AEL's fantastic sponsors, the first of which being AOC. Now, they're a global leader in monitor technology, without which we couldn't even see the games that are going to be sort of shown to us. So they've been around for more than 50 years, AOC. They deliver this exceptional viewing experience, millions of loyal customers worldwide. They have a wide selection of monitors, be it, in the office, studying, or even gaming, which is kind of what we're doing right now. A big thank you to AOC.
Yeah, and of course, Indomie, feed your game with Indomie. Favorite slang line, just out there. I love saying it. And yeah, they come in a bunch of different flavors and things like that. Of course, there to let you experiment with your own culinary tastes. They are some of the best quality instant sort of any of that sort of instant meal category you can get. One of the best. It's a classic uni food. And yeah, let us know on social media, as always, how you have yours, because I've got a couple of packets sitting there, which I'm not quite sure what to do with. There's only 2 left. I want to make something dramatic, but,
I actually have one for you then, before we keep
Ooh.
on. This is what I did, honestly, last night, actually. You get the cheap, I mentioned this on my last stream as well, but you get, the cheap Aldi steaks, the $5 Scotch fillets. Cook that thing with a lot of butter, get it nice and juicy. And then you use kind of the steak broth in with the Indomie noodles, and then you slice the steak and add it in as well. And it's It's elevating next level. It's really, really good. And speaking of elevating to the next level, obviously RIG, what it takes to win. RIG, they develop headsets that help deliver superior audio quality. This is for gamers and streamers, and people want to chill out, listen to music as well. So you can join that RIG team and enhance your gaming experience.
And of course, finally, last but the opposite of least, our favorites, it's Chatime. You can also let us know on social media if you do want how you have your Chatime. I know it's all of the time seeing posts from the various AEL admins and organizers and whatnot bragging about it, but nothing better to kick back and watch the AEL University, everything, Rocket League, CSGO, the whole deal with a lovely Chatime. We had ours for the last Grand Finals. I'm going to probably go out and order some of mine for the Grand Finals this season as well. Hopefully get a chance to sort of kick back and watch them while I make you and Tins possibly do all the work. That sounds great. But make sure to have a look at them. They're everywhere. They are all over Australia, so there's definitely going to be one somewhere near you.
Yeah, get your steak, McGorry. Oh, what is your Chatime? I'm actually curious, because I always say mine, which is the grapefruit green tea, half ice, no sugar. Well, I'm curious what you go for.
I'm still figuring that one out as well, and this is kind of why I suddenly was like, give me recommendations, because I'm always go for stuff really, really generic things. I'll just go, what are my friends having? So I I need to like actually kind of find out more of that. That's what I'm gonna do. I think that's gonna be my mission for the end of this season. I know I haven't got long to figure out what my favorite sort of chart time is. There's so many mixing, but that's the thing. There are so many combinations that like you can just have so many, and there's different ones each time. So I'll settle on a favorite by the end of the season. I promise you that.
True. I did try the strawberry. And if you like sweet ones, the strawberry was very, very sweet. Either way, we got some Rocket League to play, so I'm just going to jump this camera on to the pitch right now. As you can see, timer's all set up. We are pretty much ready to go, and it will be on my mark. We're can't get these things off yet, so probably be when I say go for synchronizing purposes. We'll be kicking this bad boy off. Are you ready, Fetch?
I am very ready.
All right, well, 3, 2, 1, go. And I hope you didn't go right there because it didn't go when I hit go. So we're going to have to try that again.
Oh, no. It's fine.
Oh,
I'm back to the beginning now.
Yeah, no, I misfired. I had OBS up, so I hope I didn't actually break OBS by pushing shift. Either way, 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. Now we got some movement. We've got some action. On that blue side, it's UoN, Anti-Venom, Husey, and Storm. On the orange side, UTS, Sorexel, Flicky, and Knight. I kind of pegged this team as, my third favorite team in this tournament, this UTS side. Obviously, it's a school that excels in a lot of different esports, not just Rocket League, and I'm going to be expecting them to excel again today.
It's been a bit of a favorite to watch of mine, though, I will say. And I think I like your points about UTS, always going with the big, strong teams who have the potential. But I do think there's a little bit of my heart goes to UoN. Just watch so many of their matches over the last few years. But we have a full series. This one is a best of 7. Remember, there's a lower bracket match, so it means it's going to be for elimination. If you want to stay in, if you want to have a chance of going to the finals, you have to win this match. You can't, this entire series, I should say. You can't afford to be dropping games.
No, you cannot. You've got to be on point in this one. It is a best of 7, so I suppose there is some cushion in that. However, when it's elimination on the line, when you've worked so far, so many months to get to this point, you really don't want to make any sort of missteps. And getting that opening win sometimes can help build the confidence a team might need. We're going to see anyone step up. Particularly, I'm looking at Sorexel for obvious reasons. I mean, RLCS experience aplenty. He is one of the better players in this tournament. And then on the other side, I'm, of course, always going to be looking at Husey, although in recent games, it has been Anti-Venom who I feel has been stepping up and performing. Speaking of which, he's going to be scoring our first goal.
There we are. Nice little opener. It was kind of going a bit back and forth. That one took that big play straight down the middle of the field to eventually find a proper connection. But at the end of the day, that is putting your squad, UoN actually, my squad I guess I've been putting my weight behind. Of course, we want a good series of Rocket League at the end of the day, but it does put them up at the beginning. Husey can't quite find the defense. That's actually a quick turnaround. UTS getting themselves on the board and tying it up.
Yeah, Sorexel just able to drive it straight down the middle again. Going to be one of those players we need to look out for, as well as Knight. Always impressed with Knight's speed and the ability to clear, go for these solo ones corner to corner. Can create a lot of attacking pressure. If Knight's able to find some of these situations, he becomes very Fever-esque for those familiar with the Renegades. We'll be curious to see if we get to see more of that from UTS. It does look like they had a scoring opportunity, at least till Storm will get it to that corner. Sorexel with the follow-through, continuing to apply pressure more from the midfield than in front of the net. A lot of space being given to both these teams.
Yeah, that's it. It sort of feels like there's it's a bit of that that opening in boxing. If you've watched a lot of that, I'm sure going to be people who are going to check me on that one later. But you know how sometimes you see those kind of opening, big spacing, no one taking the center of the ring just yet. Feels a bit reminiscent of that. So I want to see who does get the better of it. Of course, tied up scores at the moment. It's a pretty good start. It was a nice little play off the backboard. There was a pickup there from, I didn't see who it was. I think it was Flicky. But it's going to give an opportunity for UoN to kind of run this one down. And Storm, the very nice setup on the top of the top crossbar, but Anti-Venom just can't quite put it away.
Yeah, and now we got Sorexel trying to clear some space across the middle. Does find Knight, gets the ball to the corner. But again, we're seeing these setups, but by playing in the middle of the field, it doesn't look as if, they're going to be able to find these quick strikes. Instead, compare that to the aggression that comes from UoN when they are on the attack. They are right in UTS's face. Two very different attacking styles right now. Similar results as we're sitting at one apiece, but right now we could see that opening for UTS. Husey from over the top, unable to spike it in.
Yeah, and a good kind of holding fast from the defense, but you're right, it was a slight miss on that one, and another one coming off the sidebar, of course, potentially going to set that up for our player on the camera there, but it is just that UoN just peeing shots off the back, peeing shots, getting ready for the setups, and I love that aggression. Right at the moment, they're getting put a little bit in the back footer. Sorexel takes and passed over to Light. And it's going to be Flicky trying to go up for that one and just peeing it back off the wall again, trying to get that slower setup. but not too much coming of it as we're kind of in a bit of a midfield skirmish now.
Yeah, it's a bit of that back and forth. Again, it's much more in UTS's style. You know, they like to play with the space, so they will give up field position if it means that they can sort of take some back and have room to sort of show off their individual prowess. This is a very highly skilled individual team, Sorexel. Nice save. Knight should be able to follow it through. Again, this relentless attack, though, time and time again, UoN, when they smell blood in the water, they will throw everyone at the ball right now. Once more, it doesn't quite pay off. It leaves them open for this counterattack. Wide open net for Flicky, and it's a 2-1 lead in favor of UTS.
Yeah, I didn't see what happened in that defensive position. Of course, you talked about it. You called it perfectly. Caught up on the rotations just a little bit. All right, there we are. 6 players in the middle of the field. A little bit worried about getting a kickoff goal. A very weird kickoff goal off the back of that one. But right, there it is. There's UTS going up early, starting that lead we kind of expect. We kind of talked, you talked about it a little bit. They've got a 3-stack play coming up here. Again, using that space, maybe not as well as they might have liked, but still controlling it. Does get dispossessed now. It's going to be Storm going up for the shot. Gets a pretty nice redirect, but Flicky just kind of being there to be that stalwart defender very, very nicely. Another attempt, but this time it's just UTS holding firm. Yeah,
and UTS, you know, for giving up that much space, they are doing very, very well in guarding essentially the box as well as the backboard. You have to if you're going to adapt this kind of play style. You cannot afford to like make one mistake. Granted, if we see UoN start to implement a bump and demo game, that could lead to problems, but it's not going to be in game number 1. That's Sorexel putting in the 3rd goal, and that should be enough to ice our opener.
You got to think so. 7 seconds left. Even with a chaotic kickoff, it's going to be a hard ask. Knight's just going to run it forward and up. Okay.
Yeah.
There we are. I guess that's definitely it. Sorry?
No, it's just like that's going to do it. If we weren't sure before, we definitely are now.
Oh, yeah. I did like your point about the bump demo game, because it looks like that's something which is absolutely in UoN's eyes, right? Like, you could see it. There was a play on the attack where they tried to knock the goalie out of space, but there was like one extra UTS player there, and they managed to like maneuver around it a little bit on the offense in the corner. Like, I could see that. So I think that's probably a very astute call, but I want to see if they keep it going.
Yeah, well, we will be getting ready to setting up our 2nd game right about now. Obviously not quite there yet. Have to do all of that fun little stuff, but very... I wish I could say, you know, a surprising first game, but again, UTS is my pick to win this one, and that's sort of how I expected it to look. The individual prowess of this UTS team, just really able to handle that relentless attack that the UoN New Boomers were sort of able to put on them. Going into game number 2, I'll be curious to see if the UoN Boomers are going to be able to react if they do mix up that strategy. If they get that bump and demo going, I do think it would be strong for them. Anyways, I am ready to go. Fetch, I am back on that pitch. Let me just make sure that we are at 0 seconds. So on go once more.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, well, 3, 2, 1, go. And we are underway. This is going to be game number 2, so we've got a nice look at Knight's car right there before our opening kickoff. And Knight, you know, with that cheat forward, does get a weaker touch. Now Flicky's in a bit of trouble. Actually has to throw for that pass up to Sorexel, and a lot of power from the touches coming from UTS, but I'm not sure that's necessarily what they want, nearly giving up a goal.
Yeah, that's it. If you get those, if you can kind of turn that power around, it's not too bad. And it looks like Anti-Venom going to try and get, I think, a pinch off there in that play, but didn't quite work out. Storm still contesting in the midfield control once again, just locked in pretty well there, at least for a little while. At least for a little while for UoN. UTS now kind of turning around just a little bit and able to get a bit of an attack here. And you talked about them using space, but maybe they gave up a little bit too much space there.
It's interesting, though, because it also does look as if, you know, that side of UTS is starting to get a little bit more aggressive themselves. They are playing further forward than what we saw in game number 1. Like, they're willing to drive past that midfield, and, well, the moment they do, they get punished. So maybe we should go back to that passive play. A cheeky little goal right there by Husey to put UoN out in front.
So that wasn't even a caster curse. They sort of just did it to themselves, right? It's hubris, I guess. But yeah, exactly. I mean, when you smell kind of blood in the water, to use a bit of a cliche, a very nice play just to smother that one over.
Yeah, no, when you smell the blood in the water, you bite, and that's what UTS apparently is trying to implement into our 2nd game as they find a way to tie us up 1 apiece right now. Knight off of the ceiling, going to go for the double. Doesn't quite get that angle or that touch. Anti-Venom was the one who tried to make that clear for the corner, and that was a player that was surprisingly silent, I felt, in game number 1. I'm really looking towards Anti-Venom to make a few more plays as the series progresses.
Yeah, I mean, at least Anti-Venom's kind of been in it and trying to keep the play going. Just loses out that one to Sorexel, who doesn't quite get that secondary touch to keep the attack going. Flicky tries to make it happen, but it's going to be Husey running up the side. And once again, Anti-Venom kind of in the position, holding that midfield, being back a little bit. Possibly going to take this one off Husey on the setup. It's Rexel, once again, you said, being on the backboard, controlling that area and doing it quite well.
Yeah, as we do see, now Husey going to try and play off that backward flicky. Able to make that read, gets that touch, going to try to chase it up. Storm will be able to spike it down. Have to admit, Storm, not really a player I'm too familiar with, actually. I'm pretty sure last time I cast UoN, Storm might not have even been playing. So a lineup mix-up in a game like this is always a bit of a concern. You know, there are other priorities besides Rocket League, studies and life obligations, work, I suppose. So not sure the reasoning for this change. That, or it just could be my memory failing me. Either way, Anti-Venom playing along that side wall. I have to admit, I have been impressed with Storm's position.
Yeah, well, Storm was that player who won the 2v3 best of 5, I think, last season. I don't think it was one of these two, any of these 3 players who was there as that second player. But yeah, Storm and one of the other UoN players put on a huge performance. I think they've played a few more games this season, but I'd have to check on that one. So Rexel goes up on the backboard. Once again, Knight actually gets to pick up that. Thought it might be cleared out, but will eventually be passed off that midfield kind of side.
I'm a little bit surprised Knight didn't actually take the shot right there. It looked like the top half of the net was open. Perhaps put it a little bit too high, but that backward setup did look quite intentional. Perhaps trying to get a defender to bite with no one biting. It just looked like a missed opportunity. There's been a few of those coming from the UTS side. They're putting on this aggression, and it's not paying dividends just yet. I'm sure they're going to keep it continuing to attack, though, until they do find that opening. Credit where credit is due. This UoN defense holding firm.
That's it. Something we wanted to see. I mean, whether we said it or not, it's something which, obviously needed to be kind of improved from these 2 games. So if they're doing that, it's a good step. Have to make sure they don't let this one here win, though. Wow, we are just psychic today, I guess.
So what's fun is when we know results and we still find ways to curse the teams.
That's it. No, we've got time travel coming into this as well as, like, some weird fate ritual stuff going in. Almost a nice little attempt there from I think it was Knight. It might have been Flicky on that shot, but didn't quite find a connection. Flicky trying to contest that one from Storm and take that away, but now UoN kind of setting up this attack. Remember, they are 1 goal down. That was a weird double commit, and it's going to get immediately punished there from Husey.
Yeah, now we're looking at a tie game. Great read by Husey to equalize us up. 1:18 remaining. Getting that feeling that the next goal might end this if we continue at a pace of a goal a minute. I feel like UTS might feel the same. Once again, they come out swinging off this kickoff. Knight willing to challenge in that corner. Gets it past Husey as well as Storm. Looking for the pass back, though, and there's no one behind him. So Rexel, a bit too tight with the spacing because of the slower pace, isn't able to corral it. The ball does temporarily stay on that blue side of the field, but it looks like UTS might lose possession here unless Flicky does something amazing. Actually does so. Got it all the way back to that corner where, again, the ball gets jammed up.
19 getting too aggressive on this one, though. Remember, that's what bit UTS in the butt before. I mean, they do need to kind of find the attack eventually. They can't just keep the ball here. I guess pulling out the defenders and things like that is helpful, but right now Anti-Venom's got the opportunity to step up, pass it off to Storm, trying to get a pass back, but they're not quite finding that connection again. Maybe that's the fact that they haven't been as practiced together, but I think that's just an awkward situation to try and play from. But the ball's slowly being moved up inch by inch here as Anti-Venom's going to grab it again in the midfield and try and make something happen up the ball.
Yeah, as we do sort of see 18 seconds remaining. Storm going to try that backward. Here comes Husey trying to force it underneath. Flicky and Sorexel kind of had to work together to make that save. A very perilous situation somehow avoided. And with 5 seconds remaining, well, it does look like the next goal is going to win this one because it's probably going to happen in overtime unless we see some regulation heroics. Not going to be the case, and it's game 2, and we're already playing an overtime match.
I saw that car diving towards the ball, trying to make it happen. Pretty sure that was Flicky. Don't know exactly, but it is going to be Flicky trying to start off this offense. And yeah, well, at least we got to game 2 before we saw the overtime this time. That's better than we've had in previous series. Storm's going to try and run that one. A bit of a dangerous position, but once again, I would be surprised if we see any hyper-aggression right out of the gates. Oh, never mind. All right, we're good.
That's too hyper just yet. I mean, one player going for a solo play is something. If we had seen the other 2 commit with him, then we can start talking. It's kind of more, I feel like, UoN right now testing the waters, and now a semi-open net. Sorexel bit on the shot, but was able to recover, finding a really deep clear, actually. This is a great turnaround for UTS, except Knight kind of fumbles the midfield touch and gives away a strong chance, nearly gave away everything. UTS, they're looking shaky at the moment. A couple strange touches really holding this team back.
Yeah, but they've got a really nice passing play straight across the field. Force out the double commit quite nicely, and it pulls the one defender. Takes Husey to kind of grab that one. And he's going to make a bit of an attempt. I will be honest, in that first play, I thought there was a couple more players up to like just on the bottom of the screen, but turned out they were on the other side, so it's fine. We're all good. They knew what they were doing. They're good players. Storm gets a bit of a pass back on that. Just to try and keep the ball in their hands at least, and keep the pressure and the tempo away from UTS just for a bit.
Yeah, they are going to try and play off this backside right now, Husey. A little setup off the backboard. Sorexel has the read, but take a look where Storm is waiting. Forces the triple commit. That shot had so much power behind it. Defense now no boost. Knight just using the last of it right there. You have to think if they can keep peppering this goal, they'll be able to find that opening. UoN looking to get this one in OT. It's another good setup. Flicky will keep it in the corner, but once more the boost just being stolen away. Time and time again. No resources available despite sending members to cheat forward. It's have to get that midfield boost, have to try and maybe find that counterattack play, and yet UoN eventually do give up on the attack, but that was a very long and extended play.
It was indeed. Whoa! We saw the knocks. I think Sorexel just missed it. I mean, look, great shot from Anti-Venom. I wasn't trying to highlight a mistake or anything, but Anti-Venom just pulls a very awkward, very fast shot. I didn't actually see the speed on that one because it is a replay, but that was just out of nowhere.
Yeah, I kind of watched it back a couple times from Sorexel's point of view, just because we have that power, and yeah, I'm not gonna blame Sorexel for that at all. That was instantaneous, that shot coming through, and just like that, it is going to be a victory going over to UoN. So UoN able to strike back, able to tie up this series. Fantastic result for our blue side.
Yeah, that's it. And I guess when you keep that pressure on, you talked about the extended attack, eventually you're going to find a goal. If the scores are tied up, you're going to get that if you don't overextend and you don't get punished for it. As long as you're not, committing too many of those players, eventually it just results in a goal, and they get it off a kind of an opportunity almost from UTS, and a little bit of a punish on the slow rotation, but it was just a fantastic shot to get that much pace and that angle on it, really. Yeah,
it was a very, very strong shot. As just getting our next play up and ready, our next game, I should say, not next play. It's not necessarily a play. I feel like a wrestling commentator when we do these sort of replay reviews, because it's like we know the results, but we don't know what's going to happen.
That's it. We have it definitely feels a bit weird. Like it's kind of awesome because you do sometimes get caught up in the moment. You go, oh wait, what was the result again? And if you just don't think about that too much, and you sit back and relax, it is actually kind of exciting. You do get sucked into the games a little bit, but I do know what you mean. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean about that.
It's bizarre, people. That's all I'm going to say. Either way, I'm ready to go. You ready to go?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, 3, 2, 1, go. We are kicking off our next game. This is game number 3 in this best of 7. UoN able to tie it up after game number 2, and off this kickoff, it is Sorexel looking to strike first. Tries to find the read off that backboard, but can't get too much from it.
Yeah, not too much, exactly as you say. I mean, scores are tied up, and I actually do want to say that last game, as a game to sort of tie the game score up, that was a bit of a weird way of putting it, but you know what I mean. That was a hell of a thing. But I'm kind of interested to see exactly who plays out from this. Traditional logic says that the fact that UoN have a bit of momentum means that they're going to be favored, but I really don't think there was enough. But good attempt from Sorexel to try and push that one up, but they put 3 players up in the attacking line. I mean, the fast rotations aren't exactly coming through. The ball's traveling very slowly right now, so I don't expect anything too risky. But yeah, a bit of an awkward kind of bounce off the field. Yeah,
it's interesting to me though, because it looks as if the response to game number 2 going into game 3 coming out of UTS, at least initially, was play even further forward. When I kind of felt like that's what got them burned a couple times. We saw it in the few goals that UoN were able to get. They were off these quick counterattacks, yet UTS almost fearless with their approach right now. And we'll be curious if they'll be able to turn sort of this extra aggression into a few more goals. At the moment, UoN actually doing a great job in controlling the center of the field. A lot of these 50s going the blue side's way. Anti-Venom wins a great one across the middle. Husey now only has to beat out Knight, who was able to find that read. Now Knight's going to go for that late ceiling flick. Doesn't quite find it. Leads to the shot. And once again, Flicky finds their way behind that play as well. And it's an open-looking net, but it's put too high. And even on the follow-through, Flicky can't quite drain that shot.
Yeah, it's it. Pulled the defender out a little bit. I didn't think they had the boost to try and make that defensive save, but Flicky still went high and just, didn't quite get it. But we've got a counterattack now. There's almost really sneaky positioning from Husey, but it didn't quite work out. UoN, though, looking dangerous a little bit if they can set this attack up once again. Now with a great pass play, and the passing plays have been fantastic, I think, this game from UTS.
I think they've actually been strong from both these teams, to be quite frank, and UTS, not really a team that I would associate with passing plays, but here they are doing just that, and it's a promising sign to see. If they can add, extra elements of team play into their game moving forward, assuming that they win this series, that could elevate them from being, sort of like my number 3 team to number 2, possibly challenged with the big guns, especially considering some of the upsets that happened just yesterday. Very volatile league at the moment, and every factor that you can add into your gameplay is just another edge that could be pushing you further towards that ultimate goal.
Exactly, and these teams are, whilst they're very good at Rocket League, they are not quite at that level of these pro teams yet who have a lot of these fundamentals kind of locked away. And even then do have some of their weaknesses, though. They're kind of picking up and putting extra points into those things is great, being able to figure a lot of those things out. Flicky playing very slowly there, almost got kind of caught from behind by Storm. Oh no!
That was an own goal. Well, I call them as we see it. That one was the own goal right there. I believe that came off Anti-Venom. And we've been waiting for Anti-Venom to really make a mark in this series. I'm not sure that's what we wanted to see. Either way, the result is the same. UTS Esports currently out in front.
An AEL playoffs game until we get an own goal, all right? Yeah. That's just how it is, I think. So Anti-Venom says, all right, I'll bite the bullet for this one once again. This time it's Sorexal playing this one slowly and gets it straight over the top with the slow play.
Yeah, that was a good ones play right there at Sorexal. I have to admit, I didn't exactly expect that play to work, but there you go. And I'm wondering if all of a sudden UoN are a little bit frazzled. Own goal, slow play, and another one straight down the middle with no defenders. UTS just blew this game wide open.
Yeah, I got nothing else to say. I think UTS just has done it. And I mean, we've still got a lot of games to play out, but UTS looks so good right now in terms of their positioning. Flicky managed to carry that one off to the corner as well, so we're seeing, kind of an attempt still from UoN. I mean, they're still early in the series. They're tied up in terms of the game score. Not got a huge window to come back into this 1 minute and 30 seconds. They tried for that shot, but it didn't quite find it. But yeah, you're right. UTS just finding so much pace, momentum, and being able to kind of connect on all of the main fundamentals you want from a Rocket League team.
Yeah, this is a very scary-looking UTS side right now as we see that pass down over to Anti-Venom. Flicky trying to run disruption. Ball makes its way to Knight. Husey will get that clear. Knight does jump up forward. Anti-Venom following it through, looking for a bit of redemption. Instead, all they find is a bit of Flicky instead.
Yeah, maybe not quite where they wanted the ball to be, but UoN back on the defense immediately. I mean, 50 seconds to go with 3 goals still to find. I don't know if they can do this one. They're going to have to start focusing on the next game eventually and sort of make sure they don't take too much of that mental damage, I guess. And there's a demo. And that's the thing. UTS will bring demos into it as well. They're just finding so many different things, and there it is. Okay, Husey found 1. But 40 seconds to get 2 goals, right? It's not looking great.
Not looking great, but credit where credit is due for Husey on that one. That ball was placed perfectly in that upper left-hand corner. And Anti-Venom now is going to try to mirror the shot. This time Sorexal is able to find that save. I'm still skeptical we're going to see 2 goals in these final 30 seconds, especially with UTS sort of knocking on UoN's door. However, that's a good sort of last mark to leave, I suppose, for UoN. They're showing they can still score against this UTS side, and they're going to need more goals like that as we do progress through the series.
Yeah, they will indeed.
Oh.
And actually, such a lovely play from Sorexal. I mean, that's going to fight a little bit. Seeing such a good setup and play from UoN to immediately get shot out by UTS, especially with Sorexal doing such a nice style. They want it back. They want to straight away go in the aggression. It's maybe not as calm, clean, collected as they would like to be, but at the end of the day, they still are keeping up that aggression. At least that's something, right?
Yeah, no, they're still playing they're playing their style, and sometimes that will give you, longer and longer term success. So not riding off either of these teams just yet for sure as we get ready, loading up game number 4 before we can really jump into that right there.
Yeah, and I actually I think it's kind of weird because it's going so far back and forth. It was like UTS opening up was a little bit more, a little bit less technical, I guess, in the first game. Then we had UoN kind of finding their style and being able to sort of put UTS in a slightly uncomfortable position, even if that's not the main game plan. And then UTS finding the adaptation as well, and it really just so much pressure on UoN. Even though there's only 1 game difference, a defeat like that, like you said, you need to find those big goals, which UoN kind of managed, which Husey got in that play, but it's not super easy to generate when UTS is starting to kind of lock down the defense a bit more, not overextend as much on the rotations, and really find every bit of the court in their favor.
We'll see if they're going to be able to continue that along. I am ready to go for game number 4.
Yep.
Alrighty, 3, 2, 1, go. As the timer does start tick-tocking down, UoN New Boomers looking to boom themselves back into the series. UTS Esports, again, my pick, just saying. Currently up 2-1, feeling pretty good about that. Some attacking pressure coming from this blue side. They're not going to be able to find that quick goal in this one. Husey still able to shut down middle of the pitch, trying to connect onto Storm. So Rexel has been doing a fantastic job on defense. Mane nearly connects with Flicky. Husey able to get back at the nick of time and make that save.
Yeah, having that player back is very, very important. You know, going too hard, too fast, and you're right. I think UTS. I don't think anyone would be picking UoN as like the super safe. Oh yeah, they've got this. But we have seen a bit of them coming through. It's kind of a bit of they got a bit of the protagonist buff. I guess is a better way to put it than I love watching them. So they kind of need that here if they're ever gonna win it. Go high off the backboard there, and that was Storm setting it up. Anti-Venom doesn't quite get a solid connection on that. It was a bit of an awkward reposition on the ball. Husey wins that. I don't know if it was a 50-50 if your opponent doesn't really connect with it, but hey, we'll take it. But the ball does end up going over to Knight at the end of that.
Yes, we do see a monochrome of backward pressure until we go court to court, corner to corner. Knight able to follow through with the midfield touch, easily read by Anti-Venom off the backboard. Swing and a miss as well, actually. Coming from a couple of the players right now on this UTS side. That's going to open the doorway for Storm to get that flick, but Flicky, he's named for the flicks, is going to come through with the save. Another lobber is thrown up. Back and forth we go. Flicky still trying to keep possession of the ball. Eventually will let it drop more towards the ground.
That's it. Flicky isn't going to let you take that gimmick. That's not going to happen. None of that here. But yeah, it is a little bit slower. I mean, a little bit slower. It's looked a lot slower in moments. Storm trying to make these individual plays sort of happen, and maybe that's an alley back in, but it doesn't feel like they're getting much success, especially as those plays have given a lot of time for the defensive line of UTS to set back up. But here's Storm back with the ball, has Anti-Venom right next to them, so they can possibly go to make that. But again, it's going to be Flicky dispossessing, going off the backboard, and a little bit of a safe clear out.
I'm just trying to think right now as we see a shot come on target. Like my thinking is like I'm just past interactions with these players, and I can't help but feel it's really a good thing that Husey is strong at Rocket League, because fun fact and just an excuse to throw a little shade. Not the best Among Us player. That's all I'm going to say. Either way, 2:40 still on the clock as Husey nearly scores the own goal there, and that's why, he's just not very good at being sus. Still is going to try to clear that one down the middle of the field, caught by Sorexel.
That's it. You don't need to fly. You don't need to, survive in an airship if you can survive on a Rocket League field. I feel like that's flying cars are a much better way to travel. Storm tries to make a big individual play, and he's actually going to try and connect with this one. Here we go.
Oh!
We're just talking about Storm. Oh, it's off the crossbar. Anybody could clean it up? Not enough. Such a huge attempt on that play, though. It's a great setup, and they might have another opportunity here as they get the ball back.
Last time I watched UoN, it was 100% Anti-Venom who impressed me. Today, it has been Storm. Storm has put some fantastic touches. Very unfortunate that initial strike didn't quite hit its mark. Credit to Sorexel for coming through with not one, but two very key saves. Been having to do a lot of that, I feel, particularly in this game as well. This attack coming from UoN just keeps being extended and extended. The space that was previously given back in game number 1 is just fully being utilized right now. Eventually, Knight has to go solo. Again, one of the best players at this, going corner to corner on that individual play, but cannot find a teammate to dump it off to.
He almost went corner to goal, and Flicky had to kind of contest that one solo, but does find the pass off to Knight once again. Passing play has been really, really great. Almost getting a pin drop Husey there, I think. So a little bit rough, but Husey's going to grab that one, play it off the boards, and try and set up something for the rest of the team. UoN haven't found much success in spite of having some really, really good opportunities, getting damn close here. And UTS, I mean, they're in the same spot, I guess. 1 minute left to go, and no one having scored. And it's just more big plays and big setups coming in, but the defense being able to kind of ward them off, especially getting early on these defenses, as UTS is seeming to be able to do.
Yeah, as we do see, UTS still on this defense, is able to get to the ball this time around, tries to go for a reset. That's a triple commit and an open net. Knight is able to fall back and make that save, however, won't be able to make the second one with 44 seconds to go. Finally, the deadlock is broken, and it was Husey who put it in.
Yeah, Husey taunted them a little bit with that one, kind of nudging forward, being like, all right, are you gonna get the goal open for me? And eventually just finds it. Double commit there as well, actually, but, you know, big play from Storm to kind of shot that one out. A double, oh, it's actually, that looked like a pinch, but it was way too slow, I think. I don't know quite how the connection went, but it doesn't matter. That's another goal for UoN, and they're 2-0 up in this game after, like you said, a deadlock kind of lasting for so long, 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and quickly UoN have found 2, so I don't know if there's enough time for UTS to connect. I thought that might have been another one. That would have put UTS in just straight back into this game score tie. And yeah, 18 seconds left. I don't think there's much they can do.
Yeah, it looks as if UoN's going to be equalizing this series. Turn our best of 7 to a best of 3. This 10 seconds, not going to be enough, as we do watch one last attempt to put something on the board. It's a ceiling pass, double commit. Knight will be able to stick with it to the backboard, but where do you go from here except towards the ground? Or, well, I guess back to your orange side as well. Storm, oh, kind of cuts off anti-venom, and that will allow the ball to touch the ground. UoN equalize us at 2 apiece.
Yeah, they do, and that was, I don't think that was what I expected from that. I don't really know how to feel. It was all kind of so sudden. Suddenly, you know, UoN just had the play, and that's it. That's all. Like, they just kind of ran a couple of goals in quickly, kept the pressure up after that, forced some really awkward defenses. And I mean, you're right. You mentioned that there was like a triple commit there. There was a couple of big defensive missteps. But I guess when you've been on the back foot on the defense, especially for UTS for so long, I can kind of understand some of those slip-ups, especially from the teams who are, you know, still learning and still kind of coming to their own in these leagues.
Yeah, but at this stage of the game, you really shouldn't still be learning. I feel like you should be able to have that discipline. That's what you're going to need to advance further in this tournament. And speaking of advancing, we got ourselves game 5 ready to go. Are you with me?
Yep.
Alrighty then. 3, 2, 1, go. And here we are underway. It is game number 5. Winning this does move you to match points, so arguably the most important game we've seen yet. But granted, you can say that about every game, as each game does tend to be more important than the last.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I mean, you said that this could become a best of 3, but it was a hell of a warm-up, you know, a hell of a like preliminary series, exhibition match, whatever you want to call it, that got us here. And a quick attack coming in from UTS, anti-venom getting early on the defense as well, which seemed to be the key a little bit in that last game too, as Storm's going to run up the field and possibly look for a solo here, but just can't quite get it.
Now can only establish so much anti-venom, still going to backboard a QZ. Does beat Flicky to the play, and it's a swing and a miss. That's going to lead to a Husey goal just at a minute into our 5th game, and we've already got ourselves a UoN 1-0 lead.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, considering how slow the last series was, I mean, I don't know what to make of that one. It wasn't really UoN being pushed on the defense, so I would like to see how they kind of set up. They struggled a little bit with that in game 1, but you know, they have the advantage now. If they can find a couple of more goals, or you know, some sort of defensive, like the ability to kind of hold themselves down on defense, to look pretty good. But Knight wants to put an end to that theory, and Sorexel keeping the ball active. UTS putting the pressure on immediately.
Yes, they are trying to get that equalizer. We'll see how this UoN defense can hold. They have cracked under pressure a few times in the past. Sorexel nearly able to find the shot right there. Instead, just runs into some defense. Husey on the counterplay gets demoed, but already you have a second player ready to sort of take over an anti-venom. Eventually, Sorexel does get that deep clear. Unable to find the ball is Storm, who gets stuck on the goalpost. That might open a doorway, but the pass is hit a bit too hard.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, I like the defense from UoN. It was a little bit just kind of UTS not finding the players as well, but at the end of the day, UoN, they need that defensive line. I still want to see them make plays like this and set up the big scores, but Husey don't want to commit to it. Double commit from the defenders, though, and just gets barged out of the way to kind of buy some time for Sorexel to set up a counterattack, and that's going to be there as well. But again, nice smother from Storm. There's been a fair few good smothers of just the members of UoN getting from the ball, I feel.
Yeah, I feel that's been the case, and it's sort of been mirrored by the fact that UTS also, they're not really playing with a lot of finesse anymore. All of their touches are just like these banging hits that are allowing them to get smothered because they have to overcompensate. They run out of boost trying to chase that ball down at times, and then it's just giving all the earnest back in favor, I feel, of this UoN side. Still only a 1-0 game. That's a good pass. Unfortunately, it's going to be put a little bit too high. Flicky going to keep it held up as well till Sorexel will steal it away. Back on the defense once more, UTS. Will they be able to find that counterattack? Not if anti-venom keeps putting touches towards the goal.
Yeah, it was a really good little passage of aggressive play to make sure that UTS understand that they can't step up any further. Storm almost gets one. Flicky does it. Anti-Venom with the backboard, but they're not going to commit that third player. They don't want to risk giving up that goal, but Knight almost finds that off the solo. Had so many awkward touches in the last few games. So Rexel goes for it. How many shots have we had in the last 10 seconds? Oh, this is getting very, very tense. This is only for match point as well, remember.
Yeah, just only a little small match point right there, and I'm sure you can then brush off 6 post shots in a row when that goes down. Look, that was going to be a little bit heartbreaking, I feel, for the side of UoN. They would have loved that 2-goal cushion, especially as we approach our final 100 seconds in Game 5. UTS knocking on that door, trying to get underneath the ball. Sorexel with that touch into the corner. Won't be able to chase it up. Flicky does get there. It's a light touch by Sorexel as well. Very slow play. And eventually Husey has enough and just muzzles his way to the ball.
See, you're talking about them throwing the big brimming shots, but that was always a little bit too slow there. As, you know, the ball's kind of nudged around a little bit, and Sorexel tries to get a bit of a clearance out. Doesn't slightly awkward spot to see the ball beautifully contrast on the horizon, actually. I'm surprised that more teams don't get a... Because this is like the favored stage for a lot of these players, right? I'm surprised that so many of them don't get distracted by the sunset, like the ball there. 9 almost goes for a shot, but cleared out.
Is it the favorite stage for the players? I've
heard that, at least. I thought it was like Night. I thought this stage in Night was like a stage a lot of players like.
True.
But I might be wrong. I might have misheard.
No, I believe you. I'm not questioning your knowledge. I've just never really asked that many players because for me, there's only one answer, which is the best stadium, and that's Beckwith Park at night. So it's that way there's less eggs to watch you fail. 40 seconds remaining, though. Still a 1-goal game. And I'm starting to wonder, are we actually going to see this one end with a 1-goal difference? Sorexel trying desperately to maybe launch this counterattack, but on that back end, UTS missing the ball. They are running out of options.
Yeah, that one, the ball almost sort of got lost and wandered into the goal for a second there, and I feel like it's happened a couple of times in this game, but never quite found it there, and I think you might be right. This might be a 1-0, but the ball, it's in control at the moment of UoN. It might be in the right half, but then when Flicky gets it, it's almost going in, but not quite. Husey had the time. The pass wasn't fast enough. 3 seconds left. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen in overtime. Storm tries to put the ball into the ground, but just didn't quite have the timing on it. I don't think Flicky's put the ball in the right position. It goes to Husey, and there we are. Match point over to UoN.
Yeah, UoN looking on the precipice of a bit of an upset right here. I would have picked this one to be 4-1 or 4-2 in favor of UTS, so even going to 6 games, perhaps a bit of a shock in UoN. They could be sort of launching an even larger one if they can find a win in this next game. So just going to go ahead and jump back to us. Hello, everybody. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised right now, and for UoN, I have to call out Husey a little bit in terms of how well he's playing. Perhaps call out isn't the right term, but Husey in the last 2 games has been stepping up, finding pretty much all the goals for the team, has been getting so many key saves. Granted, I do feel Storm has been helping enable Husey to succeed. However, Husey is definitely looking like the player of the match thus far.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty good call. I mean, it sort of... It has been like a little bit more of a supportive play from Anti-Venom. You kind of talked about that being the player who really is sort of the big playmaker in the rest of the series. But when the pressure's on, it has been the rest of the team. And yeah, like Storm has had flashes of brilliance, but they haven't always quite crossed the line in terms of actually like getting the ball over, or literally over the line into the goals and things like that. So I reckon it's a good call that is there. Oh. Bye, microphone.
Bye, microphone.
Don't know
That's
how that
all right.
happened, but here we are. I'm back to holding it, I guess.
Excellent.
Everything just collapses, apparently. But I'll have that back when we are getting into our next game.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. No one saw that because I jumped over to the pitch, actually. So you're
all
all good.
No, I could have gotten away with it.
Yeah, you could have.
I shouldn't have called it.
Oh, well. That's okay, though. We're ready to kick this one off. I'm just going to do our little countdown with the 3, 2, 1, go. And this is game number 6. UTS must-win situation. UoN looking to secure that spot in the top 4 with a win right here. Coming off this kickoff as well, it is an early advantage to the UoN side. Husey, nice bit of recovery. Uses all the boost to do it. That's all right. Storm will back it up, and there's Anti-Venom to knock it through. It just takes 11 seconds, Fetch, and we've already got a blue side lead.
This is worrying if you're not a UoN fan, I should say if you're a UTS fan. Because this is how the last game kind of went. It just wasn't as fast. So UoN, they're still on the attack. They're still putting this aggression up. There's a pass potentially to Anti-Venom from Husey. Oh, it's almost so good. So Rexel with the last split-second save. And is going to try and get a clearance out. But UoN, they're hungry. They want this attack. They're lining it up. And Easy goes for another one, but it looks like Knight might find a bit of a clearance out. And up, there's just too many UoN players holding this midfield, and actually that one just goes straight past Storm, picking up the momentum in that shot beautifully.
Yeah, this is looking better and better right now if you're kind of pulling for this blue side. Up 2-0 very quickly in our first minute of play even. And it is UoN with a dominant performance. The aggression that we saw back in game number 1 now bearing fruition, and at the most key moment as well as Husey just going to throw a lob shot right there. Knight throwing into that side wall, and already 2 members of UoN just sort of waiting for it. The double commit this time might come back to bite them, though. It should be a 2v1 attack on the counter play. Does lead to the touch from Flicky, and that will go in. So UTS do strike back.
All right, this is a much better game than, we saw at last point in terms of, okay, well, everything's breaking apart at the moment. All right, we're going back to handheld. That's it. My mic stands just don't want to do it today. I have the worst luck with mic stands. I'm just going to say it. Every single one I've tried is broken, so we're going to go back to this. Big actually looked like a double commit straight into the midfield, kind of almost, not quite off the kickoff, I guess, but still in the aftermath of that. A bit of a pinch straight down the field going over to Flicky, and that was a decent, very decent sort of passage of play, but UoN, they're still in the back foot here. It's Flicky's going to try and set it up. Oh, Husey gets it past one. So Rexel is the last player to make this, but it's going to go above the goal, so a bit more time to play with it. Oh no, Storm's there for the capitalization. The rotations just weren't quite there.
And now we're looking at a 3-1 lead. The UoN New Boomers, they've once again established that 2-goal cushion. Quick pass plays on that offensive side of the field. So Rexel trying to answer back, had the read on Storm. Just couldn't quite get the dunk that they happened to be looking for. We'll see that clear back across the middle of the field. Anti-Venom from underneath has a look, has a read, doesn't quite find that touch. It says it's a backward setup for Husey. It's not quite there as well. Missed opportunity perhaps for UTS. Still plenty of time in this game, but they can't afford to let another goal in.
Oh, absolutely not. Then we were going back to that 1 goal a minute mark, which really is just too much pressure to kind of feel super confident about right here. Knight has the possibility to kind of run it up the side a little bit, but kind of whiffs it a touch. Husey picks it up. That was the play you were marking as a bit of an MVP already in this series. Storm gets that bounce off the wall. A little pinch on it and is actually blocking the play and kind of slowing it down a little bit as it approaches the midfield, which is really, really nice. As Knight's going to pass it up to get interjected once again by Storm. Storm's like playing around the map quite well.
That said, that was a major swing and a miss, I believe that was Knight who just completely missed the ball, to be quite honest, and that just opened the door for another goal in favor of UoN, a 3-goal lead as we pass that halfway point. And I'm starting to think we got an upset on our hands, because if UoN can hold on to this pretty comfortable lead, they're going to be advancing to the top 4.
Yeah, they are, and don't forget, they have to beat the winner of Swinburne and USID up in the other, the other side of the lower bracket. That's a big ask even then, but a resounding victory, a resounding upset even here would do wonders for that. I mean, a scoreline like this would be fantastic. Another opportunity off the top. Husey doesn't quite get a connection. Very open goal. Bit of an unfortunate, miss, but you can kind of see that they're really angling to keep that one up the other side of the field and not overcommit for those attacks. That's the main thing for them. Knight goes up for a big play, but doesn't quite get it.
As we do see Storm now looking to clear from that corner of the follow-up. Not quite there. Instead, it's Rexel throwing it back to that opposite net where Flicky will catch and spike it in. So we're not done yet. UTS still some fight in them. Take us back within 2 with just a minute and a half to play.
Yeah, such a tight sort of time window to try and play this. And Knight actually gets caught out on Rexel a little bit, but has a bit of an open goal.
No!
Has to find more pace. Anti-Venom just gets there. Now it's the counterattack. So Rexel managed to drop it for a little while. The tire touch is going to mean that the ball is going to slow down just a little bit on this attack. But you're right. That was it. They had to make that.
Yeah, that is one of their more premier opportunities that they have let slip through, and now it's UoN on the attack. It's UoN striking it through. Anti-Venom coming up huge to re-establish that 3-goal cushion. A minute 8 remaining. UTS, they need the perfect kickoff here.
That wasn't quite it. They didn't have the third player running up fast enough. I mean, at least Knight managed to get a touch into it, but no one there to quite back it up. They're trying to pass right now. It's UoN just trying to pass it back to each other, but Rexel almost got a perfect angle on that one. No one quite there to pull it through. Knight and Flicky were around. They're trying so hard to keep this attack going. Rexel has lined this one up. Can they get a touch? It's not quite right. They're just dropping a few opportunities. They can't keep doing this. But it feels like there's almost a chance. There's just not enough time to kind of keep it going. Yeah,
it's interesting because that was like a double commit where each player wound up missing the ball. And these are the mistakes that you start to make when the pressure is getting to you. Look how open the net is, but Knight still isn't able to find the pass. Anti-Venom off the crossbar. And with the time remaining, that could be the save that pushes UoN through. Another fantastic defensive effort, and UTS just cannot score. In fact, it's UZ going the other way. UoN New Boomers are going to win this series.
That is it. They have got, you said it. I mean, this last game, it looked like there was some really good moments. It looked like we're going to have some big competition, and the high scoring as it is, it just looked like things kind of fell apart a little bit here for UTS. Very unfortunate. They fought such a strong game in those first few parts of the series, but I just kind of, I don't know, fell apart. Wheels fell off, so to speak.
Yeah, that is going to do us as well. Ball hits the ground. UoN New Boomers, they do advance, Fetch, and I have to admit, that series, it was an exciting one. UoN New Boomers, they surprised. I mean, I thought coming into this one, UTS was going to be the more dominant team in terms of that individual prowess, but the second we saw UoN's hyper-aggressive press strategy always be in their opponent's face, it seemed like that correct answer to what UoN was bringing. And you can't really play an individual game if you're not given that space or allowed to play an individual style. UTS uses that to their advantage, and they win big in our final game.
Yeah, they do. They come out on top pretty decisively. I mean, it was a great showing. I always kind of say it was a good showing for both teams, and it was. But realistically, you talked UTS up as the favorites, and they were, pretty convincingly. Some of the players on that team are fantastically huge names, but it just kind of, it fell apart a little bit there. And I mean, that's it. That's their season. It's kind of almost, it's a bit rough to hear, but they did show us why they were a good team. That game. What was it, game 4 or 3 or something? I think it was game 3, where they just looked unstoppable. I was like, these guys are grand finalists, absolutely. But it just couldn't keep that up, which is so tragic, really.
And they had the opportunities. That's the biggest thing that I think they might be kicking themselves about, because the scoring chances were there, but the defense coming out of UoN, some of those key saves at the tail end of particularly that last game, I feel like that 6-2 scoreline did not do it justice with how close UTS was able to get, but you can be as close as you like. You got to be able to put it in, and unfortunately, they were just unable to do so.
Yeah, that's it. But huge props to UoN for being there, for putting the pressure on, for being able to hold back and have that defense adapt, play where they needed to be, and take out the series, and deservedly so, really.
Really was a deserving series victory for them. They will be advancing, as mentioned before. Kind of have to wait to see the winners of, I believe it is this match right here, Swinburne versus UCID. That is the next match we are waiting to see, as I'll bring, whenever I move that browser, we lose Fetch. I do apologize for that. Bring Fetch back right now. But on that note, we're just bringing you back to say goodbye, because it is time to say good night. Only one series today, but we're getting ever closer to that grand final. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to all of the sponsors, RIG, Indomie, AOC, as well as Chatime. And until next time, have a great day, everybody.